song called "O Come Divine Messiah," which is
Hmm.
a Advent hymn, kind of right from the title there. And then the melody was actually from an older Christmas carol called my French part of my French pronunciation, but Les pastre vos beste, or let your beasts graze. I
Mm-hmm.
believe there was a French nun who wrote the "O Come Divine Messiah" lyrics of it, and I
Gotcha.
first heard this sung by the Barry McNeils,
Hmm.
and it's just they have one of the brothers plays uilleann pipes, and is
Hmm.
featured in some of the earlier albums. But they just sing this one, and they have such great harmonies together.
Are they all related?
Oh yeah, they're all siblings.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
um, and they
Do you
have
think there's anything to that idea that like related people's voices are going to blend in a special way?
probably. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think just from growing up together, you're gonna
No, sure.
you're gonna have that.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you look at it in like a pipe band setting, have you done any like big trips with any of the bands that you were involved with?
When I was a kid, I did. I haven't as an well, I guess I don't know if you call it a big trip. I did do a trip with Garden Valley down to Vegas a while ago. It was kind of a 2 day affair, but haven't done anything really big since I was a kid, actually.
So like when I went to the Worlds, we would go like a week beforehand, 10 days beforehand,
Mm.
and you're in with your band practicing for you know every day for well minus
Yeah.
like a day or two, but like every day pretty much for a week, almost a week and a
Yeah.
half. So you really do get to come together, musically and tonally and all that. So I think if you're growing up with the people, and living in the same
Yeah.
house
Yeah.
since depending on your perspective since day one, you do definitely get to I think your voices kind of blend, and also going back to that whole mimetic thing. I mean, we learn our accents from from our parents, and
Oh, yeah. That's
more from our peers, our friends in school and whatnot. So if
that's a good point.
your
There might be
singing
subtleties to
is
how.
gonna be definitely
Yeah.
influenced by if you're singing with your siblings and all that.
Right.
And also they're from Eastern Canada, which I think just there's a generalness of just good rich voices out there. That's
Gotcha.
me
Yeah.
being completely biased, but I mean them, Stan Rogers, you know, uh,
Love Stan
anybody from
Rogers. Yeah. What a voice.
anybody from Newfoundland, like Great Big
Yeah.
Sea. So it's like
Yeah.
it's definitely a what's that word? Not confirmation bias, but some sort of prejudice that positive prejudice to
Mm-hmm.
singers from the land of Canada. But
Yeah.
yeah, they sung this on their first Christmas album, and it's great. And I heard it then, and then when I found, so I'm pretty sure I mentioned this album on the on last year's Christmas episode. Which, if we keep
Mm-hmm.
this up, we'll be like Rad and Bob Worrell.
That's right. That's the goal. That's exactly the goal, actually.
So there was a Scottish Christmas album that I was talking about that I got a lot of the tunes from last year's show off of,
Yeah.
and I got some of the tunes from this year's show on as well. Um, but they did a second album called The Celebration, and it had almost the same cast of musicians. The piper was different, and Jerry O'Sullivan instead of Eric Rigler, and
Mm.
they played "O Come Divine Messiah," and I was like, "Oh, it's playable on the pipes," and they're highland pipes and not uilleann pipes, and so I gave it a go, and I don't remember when I started playing it, but I definitely played it last year in my
Mm.
tune a day for a year nonsense that I am quite happy is I'm not doing this year.
That was fun though. You put out a porch tune the other day. That it was like, I don't know. It was like I hadn't realized how much I'd missed that being a regular thing. And like when it popped up, it was like, oh gosh, yeah, wow. Like it's been a minute since I saw Andrew
Yeah,
played a tune on the
yeah, it
porch or in the
was.
garage. You know?
I probably went. I went. I sound like I'm like in like recovery or something now. I've gone. I've gone 3 months without
Yeah.
recording a tune. Not to belittle people that are going through that, but
Uh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, like after my birthday this year, I was just like, okay, I'm still gonna play every day, and I've set that up, but I don't have the need to record or
Yeah. Take a little break from that. Huh?
learn or find a new tune, which that was definitely.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was scraping at the bottom of the barrel come August.
Well, after that many tunes, yeah, I'd be at the bottom of a couple barrels too. That's a lot.
I
That's a
was
lot of
like,
tunes.
yeah, there were some that I learned the day of, or
Hmm.
I was like, oh, I've heard this, I could probably play it. And, that like I forgot that I knew. That's like some of these like classic tunes that you learn that you don't play that often or whatnot. And you're like, oh yeah, I know
Yeah.
that one.
Ends up logged away somewhere in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Well, for anybody who's lucky enough to be in Canada right now, the Barry McNeils are touring. I'm assuming a Christmas show right now.
Yes,
Um,
they do a Christmas tour every year, and
hmm
they kind of make their way west to east, so they end at home, which makes sense.
That makes sense.
But yes, they did this on their album, and then I heard Jerry O'Sullivan play it on that other album, and I just really like the tune, and it's a great tune. And then the second one is called "Bring a Torch, Jeanette Isabella."
Classic.
A classic. Again, not surprisingly, I also learned it from another Canadian Christmas album.
Hmm.
The Canadian Brass did it on one of their albums. And, it's just, again, one of those kind of classic tunes. And originally wasn't a Christmas song, and then kind of
Oh, really?
morphed into a Christmas song. And the Jeanette and Isabella apparently are two like farmhands that were
Hmm.
in Bethlehem, and they're bringing a torch to see the newborn baby Jesus.
Hmm.
And then the third one, and that said, is enfant, or in English, he is born the divine Christ child.
Mm.
And again, not surprisingly, learned this from Canadian Christmas
We've
album.
got you figured out, Andrew.
And it was actually Asher McIsaac's Christmas album, and
Oh,
he plays it
yeah.
on.
Oh, very nice.
And what's fun about this is that bagpipes are mentioned in the chorus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the refrain, again, part of my horrible French pronunciation.
Yeah.
Nay,
Anytime you can say "excuse my French," go ahead and say that. That's fun. Sorry. Go ahead.
Il est né le divin enfant, joyeux hot boys résonnant musette. Il est né le divin enfant, chantons tout son avènement. Or in
Yeah, I
English,
heard Musette in there.
he is born the heavenly child, oboes play, set bagpipes resounding. He is born the
Nice.
heavenly child, let all his sing his nativity. So
Heavenly, oboes and bagpipes. That's not the scene you usually imagine, but it's the scene I'd rather imagine. Honestly, I'm into that.
yeah, and I think even in the book of Daniel, they mention bagpipes being played at one point or another. And I remember,
Yeah, there you go.
this was years ago. One of the priests at our parish was mentioning about that in the homily, and I was like, "Oh, does that mean I just should be playing my bagpipes more often?"
Yeah, maybe
It
like,
sounds like I have.
it's your churchy thing to do now.
It sounds like I have, permission.
You've got biblical precedent has been set for you to strike up your pipes at church every Sunday.
So, and yeah, so those are the French carols, and
Yeah.
the third one there actually makes kind of a nice like parade tune, like a nice marching tune.
Yeah, I can hear that for
I-
sure. Yeah.
I came across a recording, like a YouTube recording of there's a couple of tattoos that happen in Europe outside of the big one in Edinburgh.
Hmm.
Basel is one that comes to mind, and St. Gallen, and I think they're both in Switzerland.
Mm.
And the Basel one, for a couple of years, did a Christmas tattoo. I think they did it like maybe like a 3-day show or something like that. And sometime near where the school break was for some of the school bands from Scotland would go over. and they did a Christmas mass pipes and drums, and much like you've seen videos of the Edinburgh Tattoo where they come over,
for sure.
out of the castle into the Esplanade and playing their set, and they did that, and this was like the second tune that they played. I was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
And it was also played on. Actually, I take that back. I did not. Maybe I did. I did not hear it first from Ashley McIsaac's album. I bet I heard it first from the Middlesex County Volunteers, which is a great fife and drum group out of Middlesex, Massachusetts.
I was gonna say they better be out of somewhere in Canada. This is inconsistent for you, Andrew.
There's probably
you need to be getting these tunes from Canada.
There's probably a few people that have Canadian roots in the band, so it might count.
Yeah.
But they did a great,
close enough,
great Christmas album called On Christmas Day, and I don't know if you're big into fife and drum core music, but I feel like you would be.
More so very recently, yeah.
Which is appropriate, with the whole big anniversary coming up. But they're like, if you were to grade fife and drum core, so if you were to grade pipe bands, they're in grade 1, and their Christmas album is fantastic because it's just really good orchestration of it's not just the fife, it's like the fife and like the bass fife and all the different drums. I can get carried away. We'll be talking 3 hours about doing an album review of that album.
If we keep doing these Christmas episodes, Andrew, we'll get there eventually to where we're talking fife and drum music exclusively, and as we move through all the possibilities. This is part of why personally I've never been bothered by any people around me who don't like that I start listening to Christmas music, like by October at the latest, because there's so much of it. It's like, and it's so good. It's like, well, if you don't start early, you're not going to get through it all,
This is true. I used to be that way. I've changed a bit. Where
have you tightened up your Christmas listening season?
I have, and it almost. I've gotten into this we're in Advent, not Christmas, so we should be listening to not Christmas music because it's not Christmas yet.
These are the distinctions that I need you here to help me clarify, Andrew.
And so I've been listening to a little bit, here and there, intentionally, I guess, instead of just hearing it on the TV commercials or the radio. Not that I listen to.
Yeah, sure.
I don't really listen to musical radio, I guess, not too often. But yeah, there's definitely a big collection out there of stuff, and I feel like I tend to gravitate more towards certain albums than I was. Like that Barry McNeil's album for a while was it was the first album that I would listen to putting up the Christmas tree, and you had side lights and all that. And this year we didn't put up the big tree or the outside lights because we'll be going away for most of the Christmas week. So we're like,
I see.
It doesn't make sense if we're not going to be here. What's the point of putting it up?
Right.
So it's kind of a little, you drive by and you see most of the houses on the block have lights up, and we're the dark house right now. It's like, I still have I actually still have some Halloween decorations up.
Oh, do you really?
So we didn't really decorate too much for Halloween. I got 2 pumpkins, actual physical pumpkins that I put on the front steps. And then in Tractor Supply, they had these solar panel skeleton chickens.
Nice. Okay.
And so they're black metallic chickens, and then on the inside has a chicken skeleton. Yeah, that lights up.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it's just kind of fun and a little bit quirky. And
that sounds like a year-round decoration to me, Andrew. You should probably just leave them up.
You know what? They might end up staying up because they're not very noticeable. Yeah, they're on the small side, and as I said, they're black. So in the daytime, because they're kind of up against a holly bush, appropriately.
That makes it Christmas. There you go.
Yeah, and so you can't really see it from afar in the daytime because it's black on dark green. And then in the night, if they do light up, we've had a couple of pretty gray days the past couple of days. So they haven't been getting charged from the sun, and they haven't been lighting up. So you don't even notice them half the time. But
Yeah.
they're just kind of fun. And I was like, I don't know, I wanted something for Halloween, but nothing like too crazy. And I figured ghost chickens work, and they kind of look like turkeys, so they work for Thanksgiving too.
And then put them by the holly bush, and they work right through Christmas. There's 2 of them, so they're in love. So they're gonna work through Valentine's Day. You'll be able to find a reason to make these work all the way through. This will be good.
Put a green hat on for St. Patrick's Day, and I'll be.
There you go. Well, speaking of listening to music albums, and first album to listen to when you're putting up the tree and all that. My dad had a big music collection, and one of my favorite, well, definitely my favorite of his Christmas albums when I was a kid was this collection called A Very Special Christmas. It's like a lot of like popular artists of the day doing Christmas tunes. So it's kind of like, now that's what I call Christmas. But I'd like to think maybe a little classier, maybe we could say, or something like that. But listen to that album a lot. I liked it a lot. And my very favorite track on the first album is from Sting. And I can't remember if he calls it Gabriel's Message or the Angel Gabriel. But it stands out in my memory. I still listen to it now. It's not one that's like faded for me at all. Even just like thinking about it gives me chills. It's got a cool sound, kind of a unique, changes time signatures throughout, and it's modal of some. It's in some kind of mode. I don't know if it's just simply a minor tune or what, but it's a cool tune. And I did it on small pipes with some. I think if anybody has listened to Sting's take on it, it's really, really obvious that I was channeling that when putting this together. Cool tune. I think that it's just like a direct quote from some scriptures for the lyrics, about the angel Gabriel talking to Mary about how she's going to have the baby Jesus. And I was trying to figure out where it came from. Turns out it's an old Basque carol, which I've personally, I love French carols. We went to French carols, and I feel like there's a lot of them. I have never come across a carol that they're like, oh yes, this comes from Basque country.
That's interesting. Yeah, Basque is
a little unique, huh?
Is really interesting because it's what they consider a language isolate.
Right, and nothing related to it at all.
It was there before, so there were obviously people in Europe before the Indo-Europeans came in, and then they obviously spoke a language. Basque is one of them, and it still perplexes linguists of like where it came from, or like how they're thinking it must have been this pre-Indo-European language that was there, and then when the Indo-Europeans made their progression from the east going
Hmm.
west,
Yeah.
the languages, Latin and Greek
Hmm.
and Germanic and Celtic and all that spread into Spain and France. Um, yeah, I'd imagine the Basque country is quite mountainous, from what I remember.
I
Which,
feel like I've heard that as well. I don't know my Spanish geography well enough to know that for sure, but I think
which,
that is something I've heard.
which would make sense on why the language survived and didn't get.
Yeah, make like little pockets of places where people are kind of isolated.
Because if you look at the Caucasus, out by Georgia and like Georgia the country, not Georgia the state,
Right.
um, we as Americans have to
Gotta
clarify
clarify.
that.
Yeah.
Um, that area is extremely lingually diverse and
Hmm.
by languages that are quite different from each other. Um,
Yeah.
and that's a very mountainous area, and you can be on one side of the mountain speaking one language, and the village on the other side is speaking a totally different language, not even just a different dialect of a common bigger language.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that I find pretty fascinating. I think as Americans, like, you know, me and you generally have the same accent. I know we've talked about this quite a bunch of times. So I have a lot
Right.
more,
Yeah.
New York, New Jersey um, things on it than just a normal American accent. But like, if we were to go to the UK or wherever, they would just, oh yeah, you guys are American. I'm like, we just have like kind of like
Right.
this one big accent that is, since we're so huge, then we don't have the spread that England does, right? England's like tiny compared to America, and like you can
Hmm.
go from like London to Manchester and hear 9 different ways of speaking, on the trip
Yeah.
there.
Really widely different. Yeah.
Um, but that has a lot to do with how America was settled or colonized or whatever word you want to
Hmm.
use, and a lot of people came from the same area and then spread out.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Well, and speaking of that movement of language, that's at least from I being not a historian. I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know for sure. But what I was reading as I was trying to figure out some more stuff about this tune is that the tune itself is super old, seems to come from Basque Country, and then the lyrics that are typically attached to it are based on a Latin carol from the 13th or 14th century, which then a little while later got translated into French, and then the first time it kind of pops up in English was actually pretty recently. There was an Anglican priest who had spent some of his childhood in Basque Country, and I wonder if he
Awesome.
heard the tune there, maybe, and he kind of paraphrased it into English, or I don't know if he had to paraphrase it all. Actually, he might have just known what passage of scripture the lyrics were based on and just pulled them, from whatever version of the Bible he had laying around. I don't know, but that was like the 1920s. It kind of pops up in English, but like a lot of old songs, I feel like there are a lot of maybe this is not founded on anything, but it just feels to me like there are a lot of the older Christmassy tunes that just they sound kind of creepy in a cool way, like
Yeah,
they're modal or minor or something like that. And this is one of them. This is maybe like in my mind the epitome of that thing, like the creepy Christmas song. But I mean that in a cool way.
yeah. I think even like I know we talked about this last year. Like even from like a religious and theological standpoint, like if you equate the birth of Christ as bringing light into the world, pre the birth we're still in the darkness. So
Yeah.
that kind of translates into this kind of minory sounding music.
No,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and one that actually kind of offsets that mold is "We Three Kings,"
Oh yeah.
because that's in the
It
minor.
it changes modes, doesn't it? And then in the chorus it goes major. It kind of like it kind of does that
Yeah,
whole journey all by itself, huh?
and this wasn't one of the mentioned tunes in this year's, but there's a great recording by this group called Clamave de Profundis.
Oh well, yeah, I listen to those guys all the time.
They're a
Speaking of related voices too, I think some of them are
yeah,
family
I
as
think they're
well.
all siblings
Yeah.
from England, and they do a version of "We Three Kings," which is it has become my favorite version. There's two versions that I really like. It's that one, and it's the Bare Naked Ladies version.
Oh yeah, dude, love that one absolutely.
Again, Sarah McLachlan singing on it. Eastern
Yep, that shit.
Canadian.
Yeah.
We have a
If
theme.
we dig, if we dig within 2 or 3 layers, we're gonna find Andrew's connection to Canada in any of these.
But they so they sing through the verses, and I always get annoyed. So we sing, we sing "We Three Kings" on Epiphany Sunday, at mass, either for the communion or for the collection, or one of the hymns during the service, and we tend not to sing all 5 verses, right? So there's 5 verses. There's the first verse, which is kind of like the introductory verse, and then there's the second, third, and fourth, which is each of the 3 gifts, right? The myrrh, the frankincense, and the gold.
Oh sure.
And I did that in the reverse order: the gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And in the myrrh one,
Someone was gonna call you out.
the
Good thing you
myrrh
straightened that.
is it was like a burial perfume, like a burial incense.
Oh.
So there we have the alluding to what happens, at
Gotcha.
Easter time, and these folks from Clamave de Profundis, they not only do they do a key change when they get to that third verse, but they go way down deep, and it's we know what's gonna happen with the myrrh, and then
Man, what a cool detail. I mean, I'm familiar with their version of the tune, but I didn't realize that about the lyrics. That's a really interesting detail.
when they come back up into the 5th verse, behold us now, glorious arise, it's very much more triumphant as we see what happens at Easter time.
Oh, sure. So this kind of pulls in the whole cycle. It's not just the birth situation.
Yeah, it kind of has both. Because otherwise, without Easter, Christmas would be, kind of meaningless. But yeah, that's
That's cool, man. I mean, I like the music anyway, but knowing things like that adds some depth to it. That's very cool. I'm gonna point that out next time we're listening to their take on it, which I'm sure we will be doing regularly because they are a favorite around here. We started listening to them because of their Lord of the Rings stuff.
Yeah.
Then found they have a lot more stuff. They're quite good. Yeah.
They're 20-minute long Misty Mountains.
Yep. That's right. That's right. Well, did you say that they're from England?
They are, yeah.
Because that's my transition. Because speaking of England, another carol that we have at least a version of from England. I don't know. I suspect that people from I suspect that anybody out there who is Cornish is going to be upset if I don't clarify that I think that this, at least from what Timothy Cummings' Christmas book says, or his holiday collection says, is that this tune is a Cornish tune. And there's an English variant of the Cornish tune. I think we probably should clarify that, right? Probably people care about that.
Probably. It's much like if you were to, say that something from Brittany is French. I mean, nationalistically
Maybe people
it
would be
is,
forgiving.
but they don't always see themselves as French per se.
Yeah. Well, the Cherry Tree Carol is what's called, and it looks like Timothy Cummings pulled this from an 1816 collection of Cornish carols. And I do have 2 versions of it here. And there's a kind of that version as Timothy has it in his collection. And then also he has this listed as an English version that's credited. So the Cornish version he has put down as a traditional tune. Not sure, if we could point to a person as composing, kind of a trad tune. And then this English version, though, he does have credit to Richard Terry, who lived at the turn of the 20th century. And it looks like the English version sometimes comes under other titles other than the Cherry Tree Carol. It also comes under the title Joseph and the Angel and As Joseph Was a Walking. And there is a little set of English lyrics out there, which are something like this: As Joseph was a walking, he heard an angel sing, "This night shall be born our heavenly King. He neither shall be born in house nor in housen nor in hall." It's kind of fun. Nor in the place of paradise, but in an ox's stall. And then it ends with Noel, Noel. And I the second time through, I don't know, the way it's written, it seemed kind of waltzy, so I did it with a little bit of drum and tambourine on the feet, just for fun, to make it a little bit different, I guess, from the slower version, but fun one.
There is a bit of folklore related with the cherry and the cherry tree.
Tell me anything you got there, Andrew, because I sure don't know anything about it.
So this
I don't know why a cherry tree should matter for Christmas.
This I only heard about last year, actually. And there's this guy, Michael Fortune from County Western in Ireland, who runs this great page on Facebook called folklore.ie. And he does a lot of it is Wexford based because that's where he's from.
Makes sense.
But like kind of different folklore and folk traditions and practices throughout Ireland and further into Europe and also into Newfoundland. There's a big Newfoundland connection because a lot of the fishermen from Ireland were from like Wexford and Waterford and then went over to Newfoundland. So that's why, again, getting back to linguistics in Eastern Canada.
Of course, we were going to get there. Yeah.
If you listen to somebody, the Newfoundland accent sounds very Irish, and it's because of all these people that came from West, and it sounds very like South Irish, like Wexford and Waterford, because that's where all these people came from, and they just kind of made communities of them of their same.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It being a lot more isolated than other parts of North America. It just kind of kept as it were. But let's see. Today's the 6th, so Thursday the 4th is the feast of Saint Barbara, Barbara, and I believe she was Greek originally, but she was a martyr, and apparently. There was a story, at least one story, that as she was being brought to her prison cell, she snagged a piece of cherry tree or something with her cloak, and then it ended up blossoming the day that she was killed.
Oh, I see.
So getting back to Christmas, so her feast day was on Thursday, which is the 4th, and there's a tradition that is you would go and cut a little bit of a cherry tree, like a little snippet, of a tiny branch, bring it inside, much as you would like any other type of wildflower, and then by Christmas, since it's inside and out from the winter weather, by Christmas it should blossom. I did it last year and it did not blossom. But I think that might have been more to do with where I actually had the cherry tree cuttings. They weren't getting a lot of sun or whatnot. So I did it again this year, and this year was a little bit more challenging because we got our tree trimmed. We have a cherry tree out in the front yard, and we got it all trimmed in the summer because it was just getting like about every couple of years we have to get it trimmed because it just gets way too long because it just kind of grows down. And then, it's right by the driveway, and the walkway up to the house. So like, you gotta like navigate around it. If you're not careful, you can like easily get a thing of branches caught in your car door as you're getting out of
Sure,
it.
yeah.
So this year I actually had to like get up on a ladder and like get the big
Yeah, the big old lockers.
cutters and
Yeah.
cut a few clip ins. So that's the kind of folklore that I have for the
Huh.
cherry tree, and it's apparently done in parts outside Ireland as well, in Germany and I guess other parts of Europe. And
Huh.
sometimes they'll
Well, I'd be
use
curious to know if your cutting successfully blossomed this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they do, and we have them by the window. Hopefully, with that gets enough sun coming in the morning
Yeah.
and in the afternoon that it works.
Yeah, right on.
And with this kind of leads back to your first tune, which is this I consider the cherry tree carol. I consider kind of like an annunciation tune, right? Because it's
Oh,
the
sure.
angel talking to Joseph and whatnot.
Yeah.
So not that the church has like specific like annunciation tunes, but I will listen to this.
I'd believe you if you told me that they did, like I wouldn't know. Go ahead,
I will listen to this song in March at the 25th, which is the Feast of the Annunciation. So that's 9 months before Christmas, and do the math, and that's where we get it. And again, not to be this is expected. The band Coig from Cape Breton.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, Eastern Canada
does a phenomenal rendition of the Cherry Tree Carol on their first Christmas album. And it was actually, I think it was Darren McMullen plays every type of plucked string instrument that you can imagine, and is phenomenal at it. And he also has a wonderful voice. And he sings it on the album, and it's quite fantastic. So your version's of it too, but
thanks. Yeah.
When Joseph was an old man was he. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee. They walked through an orchard, so deep and so green. There were berries and cherries, as thick as might be seen. There were berries and cherries, as thick as might be seen. And Mary said to Joseph, so meek and so mild, Joseph, gather me some cherries, for I am with child. Joseph, gather me some cherries, for I am with child. Then Joseph flew in anger flew he. Let the father of the baby gather cherries for thee. Let the father of the baby gather cherries for thee. From in Mary's womb, bend down the tallest branches, so mother might have some. Bend down the tallest branches, so mother might have some. And bent the tallest branches, they touched Mary's hand. Cried she, oh look now Joseph, I have cherries by command. Cried she, oh look now Joseph, I have cherries by command. An angel did sing, and Mary's child at midnight was born to be the king. And Mary's child at midnight was born to be the king. But Joseph was an old man was he. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee.
That's not something I knew not something I came across either when I was looking for like the lyrics to it and stuff like that. So it's good to know. And the transition here will be that somewhat more upbeat version of Joseph and the Angel, or As Joseph Went a Walking. That's gonna take us to some more upbeat tunes. I'm thinking maybe now we could hear maybe your Christmas strathspeys and reels.
Yeah. So only one of them is actually like a Christmas song per se.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Yeah, how many of these are Christmas songs, air quotes, like officially, you might say, Christmas songs? How many of them are the strathspey reel versions, maybe, of Christmas tunes that exist elsewhere? And I don't know. Tell me about the set.
So I started with Back of the Change House, and then went into another strathspey called Hot Hey Johnny Lad, and then the middle tune is known as the Christmas Carousing, or in Gaelic, a Vish a Chud and Nolig Oring.
Carousing makes sense. It's a really dancey set.
Yeah.
I really like this one
and
a lot.
then
Yeah.
this first reel is The Ale is Dear, or in Gaelic, Ha and Lao. And there's definitely a linguistic connection between dear and, like, dear has been used like oh my dear thing, or whatnot. I think comes from the Gaelic. So door, Daor, is like expensive or pricey.
Oh.
And Gaelic kind of has this fun thing where there's a series of words that there's an S version and a D version, and they're the opposites. So like
Interesting.
So we have Sur, which I'm sure you've seen, or Seer, like Saor, which is like free, and then like Sursha is freedom. So we have Sur and Dur. So the S is the opposite of the D. And we have that with like Sana and Dunna, like happy and bad, and there's a few others. So I'm pretty sure, because like in Irish Gaelic, it's the AO is more of like an E sound, so like Dur becomes deer. And
Oh, I see.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's where the like you've probably heard like Rad say, like, this entrance ticket is quite dear or something,
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm pretty certain
in
that comes
that Beatles song, When I'm 64, every summer we could rent a cottage in the Isle of Wight if it's not too dear.
Yeah. Well, and Liverpool being full of Irish people, I mean,
There you go.
it's it wouldn't be surprised if that comes into the equation. But yeah, the Alice Deer was the first reel, and then the last reel was just a classic. What's the title? Course Edition of Autumn. So the middle one is the only one that actually involves Christmas at all. Like
It holds it all together, though. It's right there in the middle, so you can still call it a Christmas strathspey reel set.
But the other 4 tunes I've all heard on Christmas albums. So there's a connection.
It counts.
So the Christmas Carousing and the Ale is Dear is played on a track from a Scottish Christmas album, and it was probably the first time that I heard small pipes in my life ever.
Oh.
So Eric Rigler plays it on small pipes, and it just starts out with like him playing the strathspey on the small pipes, and his fingering is amazing, because like the embellishments are so, and as you know, on small pipes it's a little bit harder to get that like really like crisp like sound from the embellishments, but they are so clean and poppy. There's just this like real like poppiness to them, and I've always enjoyed that tracks ever since 6th grade when I first heard it. And then he plays the Ale is Dear right after that, so I've kind of played those tunes together, and to me the Ale is Dear is a Christmas tune because I first heard it from a Christmas album. And then the first 2, the Back of the Change House and Hey Johnny Lad, I heard from the Barry McNeil's Christmas album. Here's that link again. And so the Back of the Change House starts on a track called the Snowplow Set, which from what I've heard from a recording was I guess a couple of tunes that either their mother or their grandfather, one of their older family members, like played a bunch of times as like big snows were coming and the plow drivers were coming by the house.
Mm.
And then Hockey Johnny Lad is towards the end of the album. There's a track called Party in Washabuck. And Washabuck is kind of where their family's from. And
That's such a great place.
and it starts with this Gaelic song. It's actually like it's a New Year's song.
Mm.
And then it goes into the 2-4 March Cantara de Elarish, and then into the Srispe Hockey Johnny Lad. And there's a few other tunes after that I don't know the names of. But it was both Cantara de Elarish and Hockey Johnny Lad. It's just, they're pipe tunes. Well, Hockey Johnny Lad's not quite a pipe tune, but it's pipeable to a degree. But they're just really good tunes, and
Yeah, well, they come together nicely. It's a very good set.
started playing Hockey Johnny Lad sometime. It was before Inver. He played it in their medley a couple of years ago.
I get it. You did it first. Yeah, I got you.
I did not do it first. Because I heard it from Ben Miller. He did on one of his albums with Anita McDonald, and I said, "Oh, I know that." And it's one of these like you gotta like fold the second part down, you know.
Yeah.
So the tune's actually in A normally, but on the pipe suite we'll play it in D, and then the second part you kind of have to fold in on itself, but it works. And then Invery did it, and I was like, "Oh, this is fantastic," because I mean, pretty much everything Invery does is fantastic. Andrew Douglas is going to listen to this and did all. Yeah. He might have even arranged this part. But if you go and listen to their, I think it's like their 2023 medley, in the second part, they change just one of the notes and they go up to a high A instead of an E, and that was like my favorite part of the medley. Everybody was like freaking out about like the chanter stop and all that. I was like, no.
Yeah.
It's just like one little bit in Hockey Johnny Lad. And I was doing some research on the tune this week just to kind of find more about it. And it was actually, it's one of these songs or tunes that was written by Robert Tannehill, who's kind of, I wouldn't say he's one of Burns's contemporaries, but he's like definitely kind of like almost like a protege of Burns. Like he wasn't one, I don't think he was one of Burns' students. I think he was born just after Burns died. But Burns was definitely an influence on him. And he went out and wrote a lot of poems and songs. This was one of them, and there's actually words to it, which I found, which is kind of cool. Because to me, this was always just like a fiddle tune. This wasn't like a song. And he also wrote the poem for the song called "The Gloomy Winter," which is also, it was on a Scottish Christmas track, or it was a track on the Scottish Christmas album. So it's like, again, another Christmas song that might not be a Christmas song. And then the last one, of course, "Vish Devortman," just a real fun step dancey reel, and that was on Natalie McMaster's and Family's Christmas album with one of the songs that they did. So I heard it before that album came out, but I was like, I'll throw it on there.
Well, that last one works especially well for another transition to another tune here. Well, maybe it doesn't, because I don't speak Gaelic, so I don't know. But I'm assuming just the fact that it's a Gaelic, it sounds like if I heard that title, I would think, oh, is that a Porchtabule? You know, just because when I hear people who know what they're talking about talk about tunes that show up in the Porchtabule tradition, the titles sound kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my ignorant from the outside gut reaction to it. And there's this one here that maybe you can help me out. I think it's pronounced, I usually say Braith Criosta, but I'm sure that's wrong. The internet was telling me it should be like something like Brecha Christa.
You're a little bit closer on the first word, so Brea or Brea, Christa, so the birth of Christ.
But when I was looking around, though, I found it under a different title more often, which was Talad. It's Tal.
Talad Christa. So
yeah, that was the more common title.
I think that's just the internet leading you astray.
Oh well, it's never done that before. What do you mean?
To a degree. So, there's a great song called "Talad Christa" that a priest in South US wrote. Forgot his name. I want to say Father McGinnis, maybe, or Father McDonald. It might have been a McDonald. And Talad is a lullaby in Gaelic. Christa, as you can figure out, just Christ. So the Christ child's lullaby, and it's I think it's from the perspective of Mary singing to the newborn Christ.
That tracks. I think that's what I was hearing from some of the recordings I dug up.
It's the version that the priest wrote has 29 verses, and I've never heard all.
Oh, really?
I've never heard all 29 verses sung. Most people that say it do like 4 or 5, and they're like, okay, we're good. By the end of my life,
Yeah.
I want to learn all 29 verses, and I also want to sing it one day, like all 29 verses.
Yeah.
I've always thought that would be a good communion hymn for midnight mass, because we have a pretty large parish. There's like, I think it's something like 12,000 families or something registered in the parish, and obviously not everybody does midnight mass, but midnight mass is normally pretty crowded. So if it takes a while to give out communion, you have enough time to sing all 29
You could
verses.
sing 29 verses. Yeah. Well,
But that I think is
a
a
version of it.
that I think is a
go ahead.
different song than what you were playing. So like the melody is different, right? Because the Talmud Krias does.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah.
And the chorus is very easy. Everybody can join it. Hallelujah. So you don't even need Gaelic for the chorus. It's just in Aramaic, I guess. But there is so I was looking up on that title, Brea Kriasta. There's so the version that you were using, and there's another version, at least a set of lyrics.
You're right. It's a completely different. Man, I hadn't even realized until just now. You're right.
So there's a version
That's
that
a completely different melody.
It was written by this guy. Looks like maybe it was written by Shawnee Campbell, or maybe Paul McCallum. I'm not quite sure who the author was. That was collected from Margaret Shaw in South Uist, and has the same title, and I think it might have the same melody as Tala Kriasta. I should say it has the same melody as Tala Kriasta, but it has the same title as the other song that you played, which
I got you.
Yeah, it was like I was looking at the lyrics, and I was like, it's definitely not the lullaby version of it,
Yeah.
But it's a really nice tune, and I know you had 2 different versions of it. I like both.
Oh, thanks. That's What I thought I would share here was the small pipes with the pedal board on organ. Like the tune, but you're right. It is a different melody, and I hadn't even tried. I was kind of just thinking to myself like, oh, it sounds a little different, but that happens, and just kind of carrying on,
Yeah, this happens quite a lot with Christmas hymns. Away in the Manger is a really good example of this. So,
Man,
it's
always anytime you're gonna sing that, it's always like, all right, but which melody which melody
so
are you using?
In America, we sing "Away in a Manger." I don't actually know the rest of the words, but that's the start of the melody.
Yeah,
which is really a great, as crazy as it sounds, it's a great tune-up tune on the pipes, because it has all the.
You just kind of do the scale.
It's basically the scale. So I mean, if I was warming up in front of a judge, what better tune to play?
Yeah,
it might perk the ears up a little bit. And And then there's and we'll call it the Commonwealth version of "Away in a manger, no fit for a bed," and that, again, that's the same, the same lyrics, just two different melodies. And "Angels from the Realm of Glory" is the same thing, where we know it as like "Angels from the Realm of Glory," where I think in England they use the same melody as "Angels We Have Heard on High." So "Angels from the Realm of Glory."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always interesting. Kind of, you might have the same title and two very different melodies with the same lyrics, or you might have the same title and two different sets of lyrics and two different melodies.
Yeah, two completely different things.
Which is
Well, the version you were talking about, the lullaby version, I did find an archive recording of some people singing it, like at a Portstabule gathering, like a group of people singing it. it's part of the Lomax archives. I guess John and Alan Lomax were a couple people who went around collecting tunes that I didn't know about it until I came across this. So that's on me. They have a huge collection of
Oh,
recordings
yeah.
from all over the place. Very cool. But then guess what? Tim Eddy did it with Ross Ainsley on pipes.
That's not surprising.
I was searching Bandcamp for other versions of it, and I was like, whoa, Tim Eddy, no way. I started listening. I was like, I wonder who his piper was. And then Ross Ainsley, well, duh, I should have assumed, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Like Gaelic language tunes, songs, Portugal, etc. I thought we could finish with you singing in Gaelic, Andrew, because I thought your pipe and song take on O Come Emmanuel was super cool that you posted on the socials the other day.
Oh, thank you.
What could you tell us about, I don't know, about your small pipes, about singing with small pipes, about O Come Emmanuel? I feel like I usually hear in Latin, so like, you know, what was up? Did you have to translate it, or is it already in Gaelic around? Like, could you find a version of it already?
So okay, well, we'll do the translation bit first. I found a translation of it a couple years ago. I want to say 2023. And I think it's a relatively newish translation. From what I remember, this fella, Duncan Smedden, did a translation, and him and I forgot the lady's name, did a recording of it that they posted on YouTube or Facebook, singing it, I guess for the first Sunday of Advent or something. So I didn't come up with the translation, but it's pretty close to, you know, the Latin and the English. I'd imagine they translated from the English, not from the Latin, just because they probably knew the English version.
Yeah.
But it's originally a Latin hymn that stems from like the 12th century, so it's old. It's 900 years old, I guess, which is pretty kind of cool to think about, that we're still singing songs that are that old.
Man, yeah, dude, I love stuff like that. I love that so much.
And so the O Come Emmanuel part, like that comes, there's a bit that is done leading up to Christmas called the O antiphons, and it's a different part of like a calling each of the masses leading up to Christmas, of like the daily masses I guess from like the 1D or from like the 18th of December, I guess would be a week before. And each day there's like a different antiphon that has like "O come" or something related to that. And again, the Clamave de Profundis guys did a great recording of this, and it's that they did it in Latin, and it's probably my favorite version. But on the pipes, I first heard it again on that Scottish Christmas album, and was played on the Highland pipes. They played it with Milton Emanuel and "God Rest You Merry Gentlemen," which both tunes in B minor, as we would play them, and so they go well together. And then I've heard, I think Ian did it, where he did "God Rest You Merry Gentlemen" into "Paddy's Leather Breeches." Again, kind of two B minor tunes together, and you can kind of play "God Rest You Merry Gentlemen." You play like a standard, da 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 da. But you can kind of spice it up a little bit too, and maybe give it a little bit more of like the Strasbae flavor, or even a jig flavor. But like Strasbaes and jigs are, everybody thinks of like Strasbaes and reels, which like it works because they're both in 4.
Both in 4, yeah.
But Strasbaes and jigs work a lot too, because the jig is like they're related. There's definitely a relation to it, and
I didn't know that.
Just if you look at it from like the rhythmic of it, right? Like the jigs are in 6/8, but they're really in 2, right? We don't count it as 1 2 3 4 5 6. It's 1 2 1 2, and then the triplet ones, the Strasbaes, like they're almost they're the Strasbaes and jigs are not as related as they are to reels, but they make for an interesting transition.
I see.
Even though it's slightly awkward. But I've been playing this tune on the pipes for a while, and you yourself made a video of it.
Wait, I did?
You did, yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, of course, with the organ, yeah.
Well, maybe.
No?
I know it was on the pipes. And you played in A minor.
Oh yes, yeah. Because I was always trying to figure, like I've done it a few times, like with an organ accompanist, and I've had to figure out a couple different times whether I was on a B flat chanter or a concert A chanter, if it was better to tune the drones way down and start it on G, or leave them, kind of more where they're usually at home and start it on A. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking of small pipes and singing, and I was like, wait a minute, I never did. Like, yeah, you're right.
So you did an A minor, which again, so now we're transposing the tune down a step, and now our drones are resonant with
like
our tonal note. Yeah. So, and I've done that a few times, and it just like, I don't know if it's maybe because if it's like with G or something, but like, or if I'm just not used to hearing the C natural, like the C natural just kind of. Whenever you hear,
depending on how you get the C natural too, it can sound weird in different ways.
Most of my chanters, I have two pipe chanters on the dough at this point. They have pretty good C naturals if you do the alternate fingering with like the the middle and pinky up and the ring and pointer down, and then you don't need to like tape down your C and all that stuff. So you could play C naturals and C sharps, together. Well, not at the same time, but in the same tune, I guess. And I don't know, I don't know if it's something about the C natural that just kind of is weird to our ears or something. But like, I've played it in A few times on the big pipes, and it just doesn't quite sound right. Maybe it's just it could just be me. It could just be operator error. And
right, like it doesn't sound right. Well, then do it right.
And then I'm gonna make I feel like I'm like in therapy. I'm gonna make an honest confession here. I don't play my small pipes as much as I should, and and I don't play my fiddle as much as I should. It's really just like, especially like obviously last year it was like highland pipes all the time, basically.
Yeah.
But I've started playing my small pipes more, And I thank you and Jeremy and a few others for that kind of inspiration. And I don't know when it was. It was a couple months ago. I was fiddling around on the small pipes, and I figured out that I can tune my drones, the tenor and the bass, actually, and the baritone. I can tune them down a whole note, or I should say, tune them up a whole note, or a whole half step, or yes, whatever. It'd be a half step or a full step. Yeah, it'd be a full step. So I tuned the baritone, the bass drone, and the tenor drone up to B. So now,
I got you.
When you play it normally in B minor, how we would, the drones are then tuned to the tonal note of the tune, and that gives it a very different sound than playing the drones in A, and gives it really that haunting minor sound that you were alluding to before with Gabriel's message and whatnot. And so I was just thinking, it was the first Sunday Advent last week. Obviously, O Come Emmanuel is like the big Advent tune. And
that makes sense.
It was also St. Andrew's Day, so I wanted to do like something Scottish. And I figured that'd be a good day to record a tune, even though I didn't do it on the porch. But
there were some variations between the verses that you did there. Were you coming up with those yourself, or was that something you found written elsewhere?
That was just something that I came up with somewhat on the fly. I mean,
I thought it sounded really good. I love looking for stuff like that as melodies kind of morph a bit, you know?
Yeah, I did two or three takes of this. Obviously, you're not going to get on the first take. And it was, singing and piping is difficult. It's kind of like playing piano with your right and your left hand at the same time.
Yeah.
It's and I feel, at least with for me, it's the easiest to do with Christmas tunes.
Do you think it's because of familiarity? Maybe
it's a total familiarity. Like, we know the melody so well, right?
Yeah.
And we know the words for the most part so well that we don't have to think about what are the words. Yeah, what do we sing next?
That makes sense. Kind of reduce the number of things you need to focus on down to one, and you can make it through.
So, I tried it a few times, like to actually sing the verses as well as play, and I was like, learning or singing in Gaelic and playing the verses at the same time. It did not end well. So I was like, I'll just hold the B, because the chanter on small pipes basically is the same note as the drone. So I'll just hold the B. It'll just be like an extra kind of tenor drone going on. And then maybe with the choruses, I can play on the choruses, because the chorus is a little bit easier than the verses, both melodically, and the verbiage is a little bit easier. Because you also end up singing it like 7 times, so you kind of you get a little bit more familiar.
You get familiar.
So I think I kind of did a mixture of both, but I threw in those kind of like interludes, I guess would be the best. They weren't necessarily variations, because they were like, it was like a different melody, but it's just something that like, you start playing in that minor mode, and things start getting like, well, to me, things get very Breton, because Breton music is all very minery. And
totally.
Maybe a little bit like medieval. I was kind of like, again, very much inspired by the De Profundis recording, and I think they do a similar type of interlude between one or two of the verses in there, and then a Emmanuel.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily like taking their arrangement, but definitely inspired by their arrangement. So I listened to that track 3 or 4 times earlier that morning.
Yeah, so it's fresh in the mind.
But yeah, I was just thinking like of something just to kind of break it up a little bit too, and maybe then to kind of land back on the melodies. There were a few times where I played the verse without singing, just so that maybe people can remember what the melody sounds like, instead of hearing me sing it, hear the pipes play it. Those were on my A small pipes that Mike McLinch made. And I just had I was going to try to get all 3 drones going, but it was like I can tune the baritone. So on the, as you know, most small pipes, if they have 3 drones, it's a tenor, baritone, bass configuration.
Yeah,
And
sure.
the tenor and the bass are an octave apart, and the baritone's a fifth or a sixth, a fifth.
So sometimes you have options, but
Yeah.
that's
So it's like
like a fourth or a fifth are the two most common,
A to
probably.
E is like what my
Yeah.
configuration is. Now my baritone drone I can get tuned down to D. It's like very. You might need a little bit extra hemp, you know. It's
Hmm.
sitting way high on the pin, but you can do it in D, which then opens up a larger amount of tunes that you could play the baritone drone with. Because
Yeah.
if you're playing tunes in D, you're not gonna want to have a drone tuned to E because it's just a little off, you know.
Yeah.
And then I can tune it down to F or the F sharp, really,
Mm.
or tune it up to F, but we're bringing the drone all the way down.
Right.
And that, I mean, that minor fifth tuning is like really cool sounding, but
Yeah.
I wasn't quite getting it. It was like just a little bit off, and I was like, it's probably a little bit too much, maybe. And El Como Manual, there's a lot of ease in that tune as well. So I was like,
Mm.
maybe it's the best that I don't have the baritone drone going on.
Mm.
Thinking back at it, if I was gonna record that like for an album, which I might end up doing one day, I think what I would do was cork the tenor drum and just play the bass and the baritone. And then, so
Gotcha.
you
Yeah.
have the low B, the F, and then you'd have the B from the chanter, which would act as your
Yeah. That
tenor
I see what you
drone, so
mean.
to
Yeah.
speak.
Right.
But I didn't think of it until after the fact, and honestly, I didn't want to re-record. That was
You'd made it through.
yeah, I had made it through, and even with some of these other sets that I recorded, like the Strathspey wheel set, took me probably a good hour, maybe a good
Yeah.
hour and a half even, because originally I was gonna try it with that set to use the baritone drone on my highland pipes. 'Cause
Yes.
I was
Right.
at first
Love that trick.
at first I was thinking that the Christmas carousing was in A, but it's not. It's in D, and I was like, oh, this is really gonna work. So I spent a good amount of time getting the pipes tuned with the baritone drone, which is just it's frustrating because our ears aren't tuned to it. They're not.
Yeah.
We're so used to hearing just the A all the time,
Yeah.
and that E really throws things off. And the way that I have my baritone pipe set up is I really need to take like a wrap or two of hemp off the tuning pin on the baritone drone, because it's just a little bit too tight, and you really gotta fight it when you're tuning it, which is good in a way, because that means once it's in tune, it's not gonna like slide around. But
Yeah.
when you're trying to get it into tune, it's difficult, and then there's always that back and forth thing. So am I tuning with the right pressure? Because if you just isolate the baritone drone to tune to the E, your blowing is going to be different than if you're playing the other 3 drones.
Right.
And that's on the small pipes too. Which actually I was talking with a friend of mine who plays in another band local to us. And she has one of those. I don't really know them. I would call them parlor pipes. They're like
Yeah. I've seen those around. Yeah.
they're like the mouth blown, like little bagpipes.
Yeah.
Like they look like
do they look like Highland
they
pipes?
look like
but they're
Highland
just smaller?
pipes, but
Yeah.
they're then they sound like small pipes.
I think have I heard them also referred to? Is it maybe Gibson that does them and calls them fireside pipes? Is that the
Yes,
same
and
kind of thing?
and
Yeah.
so I think the difference, like parlor pipes have 2 tenors and a baritone, and Gibson's fireside pipes have a bass, baritone, and tenor, like the set of small pipes.
I see. Okay.
So she has, I guess she has the fireside pipes because it's got the 3 different drones, and she was playing some Christmas carols, and I was asking her how she had tuned them, because a lot of the tunes that she was playing were tunes in D, right? Like Hack the Herald and Good King Wenceslas and you know, tunes like that. So I was like, if you can tune that baritone drone flat enough to get to D, it would give you a whole different feel, right? If you have the ADA configuration instead of the
Right.
AEA configuration against
It changes it in a big way.
the D tunes. And she had mentioned that those pipes they're fun but a challenge, just because they're super sensitive, with blowing and whatnot. And I was like, yep. And I think with Highland pipers going to small pipes, right? We're so used to playing like big reeds and
Yes.
and a lot of us, especially in our age, growing up, like, and especially growing up, like, right, like, we're young men that want to like show the world that we're not like, we could take on the world. So we're playing like tree trunks of chanter reeds, right? That like, are in danger of like giving us hernias and, losing blood supply, oxygen supply to the brain, because we're like, I can make this tree make music.
Right. Yep.
And, and I think a lot of us like we started playing pipes, what, early 2000s.
Yeah, that's right.
So the knowledge that we had growing up playing, of pipe setup and all that was significantly less than what people have now. And the idea of like calibrating your drum leads or, anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Like it was just
the flavor of the day was power through it. Right?
It just wasn't a thing. So we'd be playing these drum leads that were like taking so much air, like, and we'd be playing these chanteries that like, oh yeah, you just got to break it in. You just gotta play.
I think that's why we were told. I'm assuming you were told just like me, like never sit down to play. You'll give yourself a hernia. And then I saw Fred Morrison sitting down, and I was like, wait a minute, I thought you weren't supposed to do that.
I heard that once or twice, and then I also saw Barry Shears and a whole bunch of other people from Cape Breton playing and sitting. I'm like,
yeah,
they're doing it. I can do it. But I think for like Highland pipers going to small pipes, especially if you're going to a bellows blown pipe, it's just a whole different animal, right? Because you're trying to get the motion of the bellows and all that.
Right, yeah.
But if you're going to a mouth blown, I think it's even more challenging because we're thinking that it's a bagpipe. It's gonna take air.
Yeah, it feels so familiar. But, you go into that mode.
But it doesn't, like.
Yeah.
I remember when we went to, it was one of the Scotland trips. I think it was 2015. There was this guy who was a friend of Donald Lindsay who was over there. He met up with us at our band dinner. This guy George Steele, who he's a real interesting character. I think he's from the Hebrides originally, or he might if he's not from the Hebrides originally, his parents are, and then he grew up in Glasgow, and he ended up joining the army in Scotland. Did a tour in the army. I guess at the time they had they call it national service, but basically it was like the conscription. Everybody went in for at least the males all went in for 3 years or whatever, and then got out. And then he ended up immigrating to America, and then joined the American Army. Did his time, and I guess got citizenship in America. Was a cop in D.C., and then went back to Scotland and became a cop in Scotland. And speaks Gaelic and obviously plays the pipes and whatnot. And I think he played with like Strathclyde Police or something, or one of these police bands that were like like the top flight back in the day. And now he's in his 80s, and he had a set of pipes on the go, and like this, whenever there was how this reed had made any sound was a bit of a Christmas miracle. Just because it was like it was a little bit, there was a little bit black, should we say? It was a little bit moldy. You could have used it for your kids' science experiments or biology class, but it was like the pipes were super easy, and as Ian refers to pipes like that as he calls them stop blowers, right? Because he could just I'm sure you've done the trick, right, where you've plugged up one nostril and put your practice chanter up the other nostril and play through it.
Yeah.
I'll
admit to it. Yeah.
We've all done it. Especially as we started, as young teenage boys playing pipes. Like, we're definitely, we can make stuff come out of our nose, make music. Yeah, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
But Ian calls them a stop blower. If it's a really easy, chanter reed and easy set of bagpipe. And we got to playing the pipes, passing up that set of pipe around, that set of bagpipes around, and again, I was 25 at the time, and so definitely have a different strength level than somebody who was in his late 70s or early 80s.
Mm-hmm, sure,
and it took a little getting used to playing George's pipes. Getting back to small pipes, I can only imagine it. I've never really I've only fiddled around with mouth blown small pipes because I don't know, I'm partially biased towards bellows blown because if you have a mouth blown small pipe, it kind of defeats the purpose of the instrument, but it limits what you can do. You can't sing and play at the same time. Or as Ian once joked that he was at I think he played a concert at Winter Storm. He was supposed to Fred Morrison was supposed to be there, and somebody in Fred's family passed away the week before, and Fred couldn't make it, for obvious reasons. So they called up Ian. They were like, "Hey, could you take over Fred's spot?" So it's no pressure,
wow. What a call, yeah.
So he was playing at the they do the concert the Saturday night or whatever, and or he was playing at the concert and playing small pipes and their bells blown, and Winter Storm is very much a highland pipe oriented thing, and for the competition, really it's more competitive stuff than it is trad stuff per se. And so this was early 2010s, maybe 2012 or 2013. So the small pipes haven't caught on as much. I think they're a lot more popular now than they were even 10 years ago. And so he was playing and he was talking about the instrument. He's like, yeah, it's great. And if you want, you can have one of those beer hats and you can have a drink and play at the same time.
That's right. Yeah.
But having not played I've only played a mouth blown set a few times, and it's definitely a difference from highland pipes. But I think it helps people's breathing on highland pipes. You just get more attuned to it, right? Because on the small pipes, if you're even if your bell's blown, if you're not blowing steady, whether it's with your arm or with your mouth, you're gonna hear it because they are so sensitive.
Maybe that much more noticeable.
So I think it's just a great. I think all highland pipers should have a set of small pipes, but I think it would lead to better highland pipe because you could really then hear the difference. And in some cases, there's not much of a difference, right? Because the highland pipes are a little bit more durable and less sensitive, which I'm thankful for.
I'm probably not the only one who's ever actually tried to make my small pipes harder so that I could just push hard and kind of get above or past that sensitive zone. I mean, I learned my lesson, but that's that's why I went for it in the early days.
And but I was trying to tie this back into Othumako Emmanuel, and I went down a whole rabbit hole. But it was definitely a bit of a challenge because you want to tend to hold back a little bit, especially if you're coming through a part that you're not totally familiar with. And that made for the recording of it a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
And even the other, that's what I was saying. That is with the baritone drones on the highland pipes, tuning them. You tune the E, and then your blowing's different. So it was just spending that time tuning was a bit of a challenge, and I was like, well, we got a good sound. I'm playing most of the notes right, and there's not too many mistakes, so I'm just gonna go with it. Like
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's what you
what is
got to
it?
do. You know.
Done
It's a good
done is
enough.
done is better than perfect.
Yeah,
Is the
that's
old
right.
saying that you've heard some
Yeah.
our friend Andrew and the other Andrew of
Yep. That's right.
various podcast fame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause I had gotten probably like 4 or 5 takes of the Strathspey meal set, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, this last one we're good, sounds good. And the tempo's a little screwy in the middle couple tunes, but you know what? The title is the spree that we had that Christmas, so I could just chalk it up to the title. All right, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
if you were a couple drinks in, not that I was a couple drinks in when I was recording, but if you were, you wouldn't be rock solid after having a spree on Christmas. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
So there you go. You could say you did on purpose. ho.